Kurt has put a bounty out on Karen because she's still associated with AJ Styles. And that leads to the beautiful people trying to attack her. And they even put a bag over her head, Jeff. And this is all fun stuff. I'm sure she's having a blast. She's realizing, and everybody else is too, what a great performer she is. But she's also probably got some stuff maybe to be concerned about, according to the rumor and innuendo that's written about in the Observer. Apparently, folks are concerned about Kurt's condition at Slammiversary and the TV tapings. We know he has been pushing it to the limit physically. He's banged up. And listen, when that happens, a lot of people's demeanor and the way they approach business has to change. Were you concerned that, hey, man, the wheels might be coming off here? I mean, he's your top act. And with Kurt Angle potentially going to be on the sidelines, or he's hurt, or he's going to need some time off. I mean, using your business brain on the business side of things, this has to be a stressful time, no?
Well, stressful, and not just because of Kurt, just running the business day to day.
Yes.
During 08, and this is the time frame we're talking about, Conrad, it was, I don't want to say insanity, but so many moving parts. And yes, 1 hour to two, business wise, we were getting more and more successful. The drama between, I'll just say, between me and Dixie, or Dixie and Dallas, and there is drama that went on between Dixie and Dallas, and Dean, the CFO, trying to play referee, and Andy, and I'll just kind of call it the office politics, the regular day-to-day talent politics, my home life. It was tough, losing my wife in May of 07. And so we're, a little over a year, but a year removed. That was, personally, some dark times, but so many different moving parts. But when it came down to Kurt, was I worried? You can imagine this, the guy that probably should know first, I knew last. I wasn't concerned. And I also remember having different conversations with different folks. And Conrad, you know me, and listeners know my delusional optimism.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember having conversation with folks and saying, now quit judging Kurt.
Yes.
You judging him on his past, or are you judging him because you really think something? And they just kind of look at me. In hindsight, they're looking at me going, you dumbass, you ain't going to listen to a word I say. But I also knew the effort that Kurt would put out. He is wired differently. I have said it so many times. He's just that high caliber athlete by design is wired differently. And so he didn't mind whether it was the month before that table spots. I mean,
yeah, let's mention that here. Kurt and AJ are going to wrestle in the main event of an Impact in a lumberjack match. And AJ is going to set Kurt up on a table, and AJ is going to go for a dive. Kurt moves, and AJ just crashes and burns through the table. And then Angle locks in the ankle lock and gets the win. That brings Karen down, but she's taken out by Awesome Kong. I mean, we're trying some new stuff. There's different layers to this story.
Yep.
But at the same time, you have concerns over, your most featured talent, Kurt. But I'm sure from your perspective, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I'm trying to ask a question here. Where is the line? Where does it end between, hey, that's none of our business? Like, on the one hand, if the guy shows up and he's on time and he goes out and he performs, not only performs, but performs better than a large margin of the industry, like, my goodness, what can he do? How can we also be critical and say, well, he should blank, blah, blah, blah. At the same time, you also care about the person. So you don't want him to accidentally hurt himself either. And then you bear the brunt of that responsibility, or feel responsible. Like, maybe I should have, would have, could have done something. What is it, a tightrope act? Are you thinking about lessons from your father or your grandmother or something like that?
Conrad, you nailed a microcosm of where is that line at? Because as a boss, owner, creative, head of creative, it's a nonstop juggling act. And that, on the one hand, and I can remember Dutch, Vince, and others, but hey, guys, and this is maybe a Dutch Dutch Mantell comment. Somebody in the room said, "Hey, are we worried about Kurt?" Dutch would say, "Hey guys, when he's on our time, is he performing well? Yep. Does he generally have the best match on the card? Yep." You kind of go, and he goes, "Is it our responsibility when he gets off our time to try to figure things out?" And Dutch didn't say, coming from a mean spirit, is that goes across the board with every talent. And that's coming, Dutch, from the old school. We're not babysitters, we're all that. So, as the business has evolved, and we'll call it the wellness program, and just kind of listening and learning so much more, we'll say, about CTE and other things. And, at AEW, the amount of trainers that we have on staff, and the preventive maintenance that preventive care we do, and all that. But just as times evolve, but it was a juggling act. And ultimately, our responsibility is what happens on our clock. If you try to babysit every talent, then all of a sudden you're getting in business that candidly you don't belong in, and it can cause problems the other way.